Joining me now is Coach Danny Servance of the Ellison Eagles. Proud Ellison Eagles, the winners over the Clean Kangaroos. That crosstown showdown last week, double overtime thriller. You had us on pins and needles, Coach, but good victory for the team.
Well, I appreciate that. Kids played extremely hard. It was great to see the intestinal fortitude and the character in which they showed. And like I said, I just can't say enough about the fight that they showed. And really proud of all of that.
Well-rounded team I saw on the field. Your defense was playing lights out against those Clean Kangaroos. And Neil was throwing everything in the book at you. All the different plays that he had. And then, of course, when his son came into the ball game, Cade kind of changed things up for you, too. But your team, offensively, looked really smooth for most of the ball game. And like I said, the defense, I was calling Tizino's name, those defensive. When you're calling a defensive lineman's name, you're doing a good job because they're not getting to that second, that third level.
And that's the key, I think, with our defenses, those guys up front. And they did do a terrific job, both Devontae Tizino and Brendan Bett. They did a terrific job of plugging holes up front, stopping guys from getting up to the linebackers. Usually people have to double team those guys, and that helps those linebackers make plays.
Man, I tell you, you look good. And offensively, on the offensive side of the ball, young quarterback still looking good.
God, he's coming along. He's really coming along well. Did a great job the other night. I was really happy to see him go into the end zone there at the very end. Needed that to boost his confidence. But like you said, total team effort. Zaire King played a little quarterback the other night in a Wildcat formation and did a great job getting into the end zone. And, you can't say enough about the guys up front. I always say, people ask how good are you going to be? Depends on how our offensive and defensive line play. And, our offensive line was kind of held together with duct tape the other night. We had some guys that got injured, and we put a couple of other guys in, but we're very proud of how they played.
Yeah, you got to feel like your team, you come in like you did and just have a little bit of practice with them, and then you go into fall and then in the games. This team really is coming together well from what you start with. You mold the clay, as they say. And you start working, you're finding these kids. You're saying, hey, this kid can move over here. We can move this kid over here like this. And so your chess pieces are starting to fall into place. That's always good when you're a chess master like that.
I agree with you. We are beginning to see some different things that we can do and figure out some different ways to get points on the board and different things that we can do on the defensive side of the ball also with our personnel. So the more we get to know them, I think the more they get to know us as coaches. The trust factor comes into play, and the sky's the limit, really. I was more than anything proud of our guys' character during adversity. We were up on Killeen early. They came back. A lot of times when you have that happen, kids start arguing on the sideline and all that kind of stuff, hanging their heads. But, our kids that's all they did was encourage each other, continue to fight. And, man, that's the sign of a team growing up.
Yeah, team building. And you guys have to have that team building. You have to have a solid team effort tonight. Temple Wildcats coming in, undefeated in district play. Came back to beat really a tough game over there. Harker Heights and Temple over in Temple. Temple's got a lot of weapons, and you can talk about them all day probably. The one that really sticks out is the Pilot kid. And, of course, Samari Howard. That backfield is going to be a hard thing to stop.
Tell you what, they're really good. They're explosive. Like you said, both Pilot and Howard, just unbelievable as far as their explosiveness on offense. They even put Pilot out at wide receiver. So they try to put the ball in his hands as much as they possibly can. And at that time, I think Rumfield comes in at quarterback. Their offensive line is huge. And those guys do a terrific job up front. So it'll be a great matchup between our defensive front, their offensive line. like I said, they're playing good football, and we'll have to be ready to play.
How about their defense?
I tell you what, they're stout too. They do a great job of playing team defense. They run to the football well, and when they get there, they're in a bad mood. And so you have to do a great job of trying to stay on blocks because they do a great job of defeating blocks and getting to the football.
Every district victory counts, and last week getting that victory over Ellison sure is good going into this Temple game, especially. Temple going to come in here. They always come in with a lot of confidence, but you can shut them down pretty quick and get them quiet.
Well, of course, I think with that win last week, they're flying high right now. I think that was probably the game that they probably had circled on the calendar. And I know that they are talking district championships and things of that sort, and so that was a big ball game for them. So they're a very good football team. Like I said, we respect them, but we've got to get out on the field and do what we do best, and that's play Ellison football, and that's what we plan on doing.
Oh, in years past, we have been spoilers for them so many times. I'd love to see that happen tonight. And you've got a team that can do it if you can put all the pieces together.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, we've got to play mistake-free football. We do that, and we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. They're a big enough opponent without us doing self-inflicting wounds. So we'll have to play mistake-free football, be efficient in the red zone, play great defense against those guys, try to win the turnovers. Anytime you do that, you give your offense another opportunity to put the ball in the end zone. And so we want to create turnovers and hopefully flip the field and make it a little bit easier.
When I was a kid and was going to Ellison High School, we used to get the Temple city limit sign, put it on top of a bonfire and get to burn it. They don't get to do that anymore. But you don't have to get these kids fired up a whole lot for a Temple game. It's still Ellison against Temple or Killeen against Temple, And you don't have to say a whole lot to them.
Well, I think our kids, now have learned how to prepare to go play a game. And, we're taking them one game at a time. And whoever's next on the schedule, that's who we're preparing to go play.
I love those answers, buddy. I love it. So give me that final little speech before you head out on the field.
Well, we got to, like I said, we got to play mistake-free football. It's a great opportunity for us. Like I said, we're 1-1 in district play and need to come out and do a great job against these guys. And, we've got an opportunity. And I tell our kids all the time, the window of opportunity was there and then it disappears. So while it's there, let's take advantage.
All right. Good luck to you. Go Eagles, beat Temple. And you say,
let's go Eagles.